Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome. Thank you for clicking this video and joining me. It is a beautiful day here in Florida, um, May 26th. Today is the day of the full lunar eclipse in Sagittarius. And I just thought, you know, it's such a beautiful day. Um, the birds are chirping, the wind is blowing, and I really needed to spend some time in nature to ground myself. So here we are. Um, so I won't um, keep this introduction going for too long. Last week, I told you guys that I was going to do a reading on two people, Aisha Degree, which I did last week. If you haven't seen that video, that reading, please check it out. And Jairah, he is a local celebrity in my hometown. He was a rapper, and he was murdered on February 18th of 2016. And I have been, like I said in the previous video, I have been carrying him and his energy and my spirit. I knew I was going to do a public reading on him once I started doing public readings. Um, and today is the day. I have been studying his natal chart for the past few days, as I usually do to prepare for these readings. I don't just use the cards, I also pull up the person's birth chart, and I'll look at the transits on the day that they died or the day that they disappeared and what was transiting their birth chart. And I also like to just compare things in the birth chart and on the day that they died so that I can get a little bit more information. You'd be surprised at how much information you can get from someone's birth chart, or checking the transits to their natal chart. You'd be surprised at how much information you can get about what happened to them on the day that they either disappeared or died. So before I go into the reading, I did take some notes that I made from my research in his natal chart. Some things that I thought were interesting. Before I start, let me get a sip of tea. I'm drinking my favorite tea blend. It is a blend that I made called Anxiety, and it is for calming your nerves. It is for peace of mind. If you are anxious, or if you're stressed, or if you struggle with anxiety or depression, or if you just need something to help you be in a calm and meditative state of mind, Anxiety is great. It has ashwagandha root in it. It has lavender. It has chamomile and a few other things um, from my herb kit that I like to mix together to try in order to help heal myself. And so I drink this every morning and every night, especially at night before I go to sleep, so that my mind isn't too occupied to where I can't um, fully be interactive in my dreams. And this helps calm the mind so that my dreams can come through clearly. So this is my favorite tea and my favorite mug from one of my favorite people in the whole world. It was a birthday gift from someone who is a very special friend of mine. And I just like to surround myself with things that I love when I do these readings, because um, I face a lot of opposition when I do these readings. So, one second. Okay, so I actually have some of Jairah's his natal chart and transits here on my phone. This is what I was looking at. Um, and he had some interesting transits on the day that he died. For instance, Pluto was sextile Pluto in his eighth house. and Pluto will square his ascendant. So I know a lot of you who are watching this video aren't fluent in astrology outside of a horoscope with your sun sign. Um, However, it's a lot more technical and a lot deeper than just sun signs and things like that. I don't really bother myself with horoscopes and things like that. I like to dig into the meat of a person's birth chart so that I can get to the root of whatever I'm trying to get to. So Pluto was transiting, was square his ascendant, and that would just mean that Pluto had a challenging interaction with him, his his self. And Pluto is the planet of transformation, death, birth, rebirth, life after death, um, everything of that nature, everything that is regenerative, that falls under Pluto. So I want you to remember that when I say Pluto was squaring his ascendant, because um, that would just mean that, like I said, there was an interaction to himself that was triggered by Pluto that caused his death. Um, there were some interesting transits as well as far as who he was with that day, but I'm going to get into that. Okay, so I'm going to try not to get too technical into the astrology, even though I said that I was going to speak on some of the notes. Um, I feel like I should just explain what I gathered from his. I'm sorry, you guys, there's flies everywhere. What I gathered from his birth chart. Um, what I gathered from what I saw in his natal chart and the transits was um, his first house on that day was in Gemini, meaning he himself was in a car, because Gemini, Mercury, they rule vehicles, short term travel, and it was in the fifth degree of Leo. The fifth degree represents the sign of Leo. The first degree is Aries, second degree Taurus, third degree Gemini, fourth degree um, Virgo, fifth Leo, and then so forth and so on as you make your way through the 30 degrees in a house. Um, and a house is first house, second house, third house, fourth house, fifth, all the way through 12. There are 12 houses, and they each are under the rulership of a certain zodiac sign, just depending on the day, the location, and the time you were born. Your first house would be considered your ascendant, um, and it would go from that house on throughout the 12 houses. Um, So I don't have Jairus' time of birth. I had to get his information without the time of birth, so I can't really lean too much on his birth chart because I don't have an accurate time of birth, so I can't really trust everything. However, I am able, without the time of birth, to glean some information because I can still get um, the zodiac signs of his birth chart, and that sufficed enough for me to see that. On the day that he died, I know from an article that I read in the paper briefly that, and there's not a lot of information on his death. I found one or two articles, and there was one on the day that he died, and then there was one like a follow up about a march that they had been putting together after he died, and his family asking the public for information. Um, and those were the only two articles I could find. So there's not a lot of information. At the time of his death, I had not been living in my hometown since I graduated high school. I graduated high school in 2006 and I returned here in 2019. Um, so at the time of his death, at the time that he was popping here in the streets, I wasn't here. I have never met him. He is one of my sister's age, my younger sister's age. They probably know him a lot better than I do. So the information that I got was merely from his chart and from my intuition. Um, so I know for a fact that on the day that he died, one of his cousins on his mother's side died, and I saw that in his chart. As a matter of fact, I kept thinking at first, I wonder if one of his cousins killed him, because there was a lot of interaction with his third house. That is the house of relatives, usually cousins, siblings. Uh, that is the house of your childhood environment, people that you grew up in your childhood neighborhood. That is still, um, it was still a major key for me, even after finding out that it wasn't his cousin who did this. His cousin died maybe a couple of hours prior to him dying. They died on the same night. And that's what I was seeing in his chart. However, I stick with what I saw, that the person who is responsible for his death is somebody that I believe that he is familiar with, somebody that he may have known for a long time. I do believe that it is someone who he was in some kind of partnership with. I know that he was a rapper. I know that he had an entourage, a Jones side entourage, and most of them I'm sure he has known all of his life. However, and I'm not saying that one of them are responsible, however, whoever did this, um, he was involved in some kind of business with. There was a lot of Capricorn interactions in his houses on the day that he died, as well as on his birth chart. So when I compared the day that he died to his birth chart, I saw a lot of parallels within them. For instance, if this is the day he died, and this is his first through sixth houses, and then his seventh through 12th houses is on this side. Well, on the day that he died, they were flipped. They were still pretty much the same. It's just that everything that was in his 7th through 12th houses was flipped to his first and sixth houses, and so forth and so on. So I noticed that they were mirroring each other like this, and then they switched on the day that he died. So there wasn't a lot of difference in those circumstances. So you could see, on the day that he was born, once I compared it to the day that he died, I was able to not even really have to use the day that he died, because I could see it all in his birth chart. Um, Jairah Reigns was born a Leo, um, in the degree of Taurus. Um, a Leo is a star, and any sign ruled by Venus, that would be Taurus, that would be Libra, and Taurus and Libra, I think those are the signs that are ruled by Venus. Um, those are signs of stardom. They are artists, they are celebrities, and things like that. So Jairah, what I gathered from his chart was that he was born to be an artist, to be um, famous, actually. And even though his pinnacle was reached as a hometown celebrity, I also saw that one of his offspring, whether it be his children or one of their children, the mantle will fall on them, and they will pick up where he left off, and they will take it to where he was trying to take it. So, look out for his offspring, whether it be one of his children or one of his children's children. One of his offspring will carry the mantle and actually become famous. Um, I saw that in his chart. I saw that in his fifth house and his 10th house. His fourth house and his 10th house actually is what I was looking at, for life and death, because the fourth house is kind of like your roots, your early life circumstances, your ancestors, your home life. things like that. In the 10th house, because they feed each other, they are parallel from each other, they are partners. So it's just like your roots have a lot to do with who you become. And the 10th house isn't just about career, it's about your reputation in the world, who you are to the world, who you are supposed to become in the world. And so your roots in your early life directly contribute to who you become. And the 10th house is also a sign that you can look at for death, since the 4th house is a sign that you will look at for a person's birth and early life. You will look at the 10th house to see the circumstances of the end of their life, as well as the 12th house and the 8th house, because the 12th house is the house of um, detachment. It's the last house of the zodiac. So, of course, you would look there to see a person's death, but you will also look at the 8th house because that is under the rulership of Pluto, naturally. And so it falls under that category of death, rebirth, regeneration, things like that. So those are the houses that I specifically looked at, but there are other aspects to those houses that gave me details. For instance, the 7th house is where I noticed that on the day he died, um, I believe that he died over a partnership of some sort. I don't know if Jairah was involved in selling drugs, but I did see an element of Pisces, in his 11th house. Um, so it had to do with a social network, a colleague, because 11th house has to do with the collective conscious. It has to do with your social network. It's ruled by Aquarius, and there was a lot of Aquarius on his D-Day chart as well. So it kept bringing me back to his 11th house, which on the day that he died was under the rulership of Pisces. So that's why I said that I believe that his death had to do with some kind of drug activity, because Pisces is ruled by Neptune, and that is the sign of drugs and things like that. It's a spiritual sign, um, but there is polarity to everything. So, on one aspect, Neptune represents on its higher octave, it is spirituality, but it can become elusive. Neptune is a gassy planet. So, if you're not careful, you can blur the lines between your higher mind and then delusion or drugs, as they put you in an elusive state like Neptune. For instance, Neptune itself is the planet of, you know, a higher mind, but all those gases around Neptune, you can consider um, the drugs. So if you were to go onto Neptune, you would have to pass through this foggy, hazy gas, and you'd probably be really loopy and out of it before you actually get to the planet. And that's how Neptune deals with both drugs and the higher mind. So I don't know if he sold drugs for sure. However, I get the feeling that and this is my intuition speaking, but I get the feeling that in order to fund his rap career, you got to get the money from somewhere, for the studio time, for the shows, for the wardrobe, things like that. All of that you have to get the money for. And I know that in the paper it said that his last job was Zaxby's. Sure, that may have been his 9 to 5 job, but that wasn't enough to fuel his rap career. And because I know of the people that he rolled with, and I listened to his music this morning as I was trying to tap into his energy. And so you never know if a person is actually living what they rap about. However, um, I'm just gonna stick to what I say, that Jairus' death had something to do with his celebrity and with drugs. There was hatred, there was envy, um, and money and business. Um, I kind of just want to get to the reading now because I'm about to start saying things and I don't really want to say them without my cards. Fuck it. Okay. What I gleaned from his natal chart before I pull out my cards and what my intuition tells me, and then what I know from gathering a little bit of the information from online. Excuse me. Jairah's cousin was killed around midnight, February 18th. He got the news. The paper said that he went to his mother's house to tell his mom what happened. Um, and he left there. I think the paper said that he stopped by the scene of the crime, his cousin's house where he got killed, and then he went to a nightclub. I was always curious about who was in that car with him because at some point somebody was with him. Some point between him leaving his mother's house and him arriving at that club, somebody was in the car with him. I'm always curious to know who because I thought initially that that person probably did it. Which is why I kept thinking that it was someone he knew because he wouldn't have been in a car with someone who he didn't know. However, if it's not the person that he was with that did it, they know who did. And as I was preparing myself to do this reading, I was listening to his music so that I could connect with his energy. And I kept hearing street code, a street code. Um, and I was like, what are you talking about? And then it clicked. My murder ain't been solved because of a street code, meaning people know, you know, but the code of the street is to not snitch or tell. Things usually get handled by the street code. And then I could just hear or picture his mother asking his friends, you know, who did this? Who did this? And nobody really having any real information to give her. And in my spirit, I don't believe that none of his friends know because they were all involved in his business. They would get money with him from these shows, and they would also, hustle with each other. So whether he was killed for envy of his career, money having to do with his career, or money having to do with his street hustle, his drug selling, or whatever he was involved in, I just don't believe that none of his friends know. And I get it. I get the code. So there is no judgment here on my part for that. However, this year makes 5 years since his death. And as I said in the video earlier, five, the fifth degree in astrology, is ruled by Leo. Jairah was a Leo. Um, so this hasn't been on my heart for nothing. And I don't know what is going to come out of this video or if it's going to influence any of his friends to change their mind about saying something about what they know, even if it's anonymously. However, I do want to tell you that Jairah really wants to be heard. The thing about Leos that I'm starting to appreciate, especially after doing Asia Degrees reading last week and feeling her energy and feeling just how big it was, because Leos are ruled by the sun. Um, Their energy is so hard to kill. It lingers around, especially if they were murdered. It's almost like, how dare you? How dare you kill royalty? Because monarchs and royalty also falls under the sign of Leo. Many presidents, many kings and rulers and things like that either are Leos or fall under the rulership of Leo in some way. So it's just like, how dare you try to diminish me? I am the sun. You can't destroy the sun. It'll go down, but it'll come back up just as bright. Their energy is big, and it's just like he was taken before he was ready. So he's lingering. He's not done. As a matter of fact, he's lingering for his children because he wants that energy to live on through his children. He wants his dream to come to fruition. And even if he can't do it, energetically, he's going to see to it that it doesn't stop. He was the man in his city. That's what he called himself. And I feel like one of his sons or one of their children um, will, like I said, take that up because Jairah will make sure of it. He will make sure that his purpose was fulfilled because, by all intents and purposes, Jairah would have, if he wasn't killed, um, achieved his goal. And I don't like to say would have in a sense that there was anything that could be done about his demise because what I've learned by studying different natal charts and studying astrology and astronomy is that there is a such thing as fate just as much as there's a such thing as free will. And I'm just going to state this and then I'm going to get to the reading because I feel in my spirit there's something that needs to be said. But yes, we all have fate. Certain things in our life are fated, our birth and our death. Now, the lessons that we learn in between in order to fulfill our soul's purpose while we're here, that is where free will comes in. But even the free will has a little restriction to it because since everything falls under a rulership of a sign, you have and options and choices that you can make. However, even those are limited. Even those are predestined for you. So yes, you do have free will, but it's just like if you go to a chocolate factory, um, there is a ton of different chocolate things that you can get. However, they're all going to be chocolate. You can get chocolate ice cream, you can get chocolate candy, you can get, you know, chocolate, hot chocolate, you can get chocolate milk, you can get chocolate covered strawberries. However, they're all going to be chocolate. So that's what I mean by there is a such thing as fate, but free will is inside of that fate. Um, so even though his death was fate, because he had children, it does not stop the purpose. It keeps going. He keeps going. We are all energetic beings outside of our bodies. Um, and once our flesh deteriorates, especially if we still have direct lineage, meaning children, your energy is going to continue until that karma is cleared. Okay? So that was a preface. I'm going to go ahead and start with my cards because there are some questions that I want to ask specifically to Jairah. Um, I thought about covering my head for this reading just because when you read the dead, it's good to cover your crown, but I anoint myself every morning with my own anointing blend. Um, So I'm good. I feel as though I'm protected enough. Um, so my first card, I'm gonna just draw and see what Jairah has to say before I start asking my questions and getting to the nitty gritty. If you guys see me look away every now and then, I'm just looking at some of the notes I took from his birth chart because I had every intention on going through all of these notes, but once I turn this video on, Spirit may lead me somewhere else. All right, Jairah, we have been doing this song and dance for a while now. I actually went and visited his grave a few weeks ago when I went to visit my grandparents' grave. They're in the same cemetery, and on my way out, I saw his grave. I knew I was going to do this reading, so I wanted to make sure I stopped by his grave and, pay my respects to him since I've never met him in person, and also make sure that he was okay with me tapping into his business like this and his energy. However, since I'm, to my knowledge, the only person in our hometown who does this work, oh my God, y'all, look what just flew out. Strength in reverse. The strength card is a Leo card. See that lion? This is a Leo card. So this is Jairah. And this is him saying, I'm not here, but I'm here in reverse. On the bottom of the deck, this is the Empress card. This is me. So what I was just saying before he popped out was that I don't think that there are a lot of people in our hometown who does this work. So two more cards just popped out. The Eight of Wands and the Death. Okay, so this is also a Leo card. It's a fire sign card. Anything in the wands is fire signs. Sagittarius, Leo, um, Aries. Now, it's no coincidence. This is the Eight of Wands, and the Death card is the Eighth Major Arcana. Remember, I was saying on the bottom of a deck, Aquarius. Remember, I was saying I'm gonna. Okay, drugs, friends, drugs, friends, music. That's what I see on the bottom of the deck. Aquarius. Remember, I was saying colleagues, his social network. Got the Devil card here. I got a card of regret. I feel like he's saying, like, I regret. I have so many regrets. So many regrets about that street shit. That street shit. That street shit. And that Empress card could have been me, but it also could have been his mother. Um, Tell my mama I'm sorry. Tell my mama I'm sorry. That's what I hear. Tell my mama I'm sorry. Did she tell him something that night that his cousin died before he left her house? Did she warn him or something like that? Tell my mama I'm sorry. Mama Rains, Jairah is sorry for not listening to you. That street shit, man. That street shit, man. That's what I hear. That street shit, man. Tell my mama I'm sorry. I'm right. She warned him. Oh, man, I just, I was about to drop some cards, but I caught myself. This is his mother. She was right. Mama, you was right. He must have been waiting for me to do this reading because I've never felt anything more stronger than this. Because I'm the man of my city. Okay, well, I ain't gonna argue with you. It seems like you were. Um, this cup card just flew out. Whenever, in this context, I'm thinking drugs. I'm thinking drugs. Drugs and money. But there was also some envy in there over money. I just tried to clarify this Aquarius card because it has to do with his friend. Okay, his network, his friends. But all this water gives me a Neptune vibe as well. Drugs. Drugs. But when I clarified this Aquarius card, Nine of Cups, he was being greedy. There was conflict over a lot of money. Conflict over a lot of money with somebody he knew, a friend of his, a colleague, a friend, um, somebody who he was doing business with, a friend. Okay, a friend. It was a friend. It was a friend. It was a friend. It was a friend. Um, someone he this is someone he knew from his neighborhood. Actually, I think that the person was older than him. I think that he trusted them because he knew them since he was a jit. He actually was not listening to his intuition. And I feel like he's saying, had I listened, I wouldn't have been dead. Had I listened, I wouldn't have been dead. Oh my goodness. His mama tried to tell him. I get the impression that his mama not only told him about that drug stuff, but about some of the people that he was dealing with. Because I feel like his mother saw this coming. She saw some kind of trouble coming with him. Um, but he just didn't listen because he was out here just trying to, you know, get this money, live this life. He was so caught up in this street shit and this music and stuff. But even when his mama would warn him, even if it didn't seem like he was listening, he was. He heard it, and on the inside, his intuition was telling him the same thing. But how many of us listen to our intuition? Not a lot of us because we don't know how to. Most of us don't know how to trust our intuitive voices. So we think it's just all in our head and we don't listen. I get the lover's card. I don't want to say that this is somebody that he was romantically involved with because it doesn't always have to be romance, and I don't think a woman did this. However, I do believe that this was someone that he was in a partnership with and someone who he revered, someone that he considered a friend and had love for. This just flew out of my hand. Um, this is just confirmation that he is speaking because it's a judgment card. Anytime I'm doing a reading, I get this card, which always lets me know that the dead is speaking. But it came out next to this lover's card, and I was saying that it was someone that he had a partnership with. So I feel like, yes, it is someone that he considered friends, someone that he was also getting money with. I keep getting the same damn cards in here. The same cards. He has a lot of regret. He has a lot of regret. Was this person someone that he um may have fallen out with? Someone that he felt may have betrayed him before, but he forgave them? He shouldn't have trusted this person in the first place because they had already betrayed him before. He should have cut him loose, but he let him back in. He let him back in, but this person was still jealous. Mm. Okay, so I don't know who he was friends with that he may have had some kind of beef with, and then, or some kind of issue with, and then they made up, they squashed it, but it wasn't never squashed. Whatever beef, whatever beef he was involved in that was supposed to have been squashed, it wasn't squashed. It wasn't squashed. Not on that person's side. I keep hearing that shit is personal. These just fell out. Betrayal, reverse, blocked intuition. So yes, let me look into this betrayal card because he should have known better. That's why the High Empress, the High Priestess is here in reverse. It's always a card of not trusting an intuition, not listening intuition, or your intuition being blocked. Um, oh, this card just fell out. This Leo card. This is Jairah, y'all. This is the Sun is a Leo card because Leos are ruled by the Sun. Oh, Jairah. Yep. Um, Whoever betrayed him, their relationship was supposed to have been healed, or they supposed to have been made amends. But he just couldn't see what his intuition, the moon, was trying to tell him. He wasn't listening. This Seven of Cups, that's a drug card. Walk away from that partnership and focus on your career. Walk away from the drugs and focus on your career. Okay, so maybe he was trying to, or maybe he was thinking about it. I think this is what he was thinking about. He was thinking about walking away from that drug stuff so that he can focus fully on his career. But he didn't do what he should have done, and it ended up breaking his heart because he died. Broke his mama heart too because she told him. She was telling him this. Did he ever get in any kind of legal trouble for for whatever he was involved in? I see the justice card here, and then when I clarify it, I get all these pentacles. So did he ever get locked up or arrested or anything from any of the drugs, any of the illegal activities he was doing in order to make money? You know, being in legal trouble for drugs and shit when all he wanted to do was be a celebrity. All this trouble that he got in for this drug shit, this street stuff, the side stuff, that took away from what he was really trying to accomplish. And he knew, but mm, it's like if I stop doing this, how am I going to afford? How am I going to afford to? Y'all, the more I flip these cards, all I see is pentacles, money, friends and money, and him not listening. Um, I actually don't think that I need to do too much more digging on this because one of his friends, no, one of his friends, no, because y'all know who y'all was doing business with. Let me just ask what I really want to get to because this is the biggest question that's on my chest. Was it any of your friends, your entourage, were you killed by one of the people that was in your close circle? I gotta get this bug off my computer screen. Excuse the punching bag in the back. um, my mom's ex-husband put that up. He used to use it, but they're divorced now, so it's just back here. Um, okay. Was it anybody in your close circle, Jairah? Was the person who killed you one of your close friends that you kept around you all the time? Hmm. I got the Hermit in reverse. Let me see what's on the bottom. Uh, you know what? I don't think it was, but I think that they know secretly because this person has a lantern. So they have the knowledge, they have the enlightenment. Um, but the question is, are they going to? Hmm, I don't know what rules the Hermit. I keep getting the same card: the Emperor in reverse, the King of Pentacles. Who the heck is this Emperor in reverse? Because that's a fire sign card too, but that's Aries. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe if these bugs stop flying in my face, I can concentrate. Let me get a sip of tea. This tea smells like hospital. This tea smells like hospital. And I got a tingle in my stomach. You know what? The abdomen rules falls under the leadership of Leo as well. Or is it Virgo? I know he was killed in his, he was shot somewhere in his abdomen, I believe, and collapsed in front of a club. You know, nightclubs also fall under the leadership of Leo, which is why it was interesting that on the day he died, Gemini was on his ascendant in the fifth degree of Leo. So that would tell me that he was in a car at a nightclub. Gemini rules automobiles. His seventh house was in Sagittarius. That rules foreign things. And I know he drove a Nissan Altima, but it's also the house of partnerships. So someone who he did business with, who he was in some kind of partnership, was either in that car with him or around the car. Obviously, he wasn't alone because somebody killed him in his car. Jairah, I'm going to ask you again because I didn't get a clear. Okay. It was one of his friends or people that he worked with in some sort. But just because this is the number 3 and it's a card of accomplishing a goal with others, teamwork, it also still makes me think of his third house. Friends, childhood friends, neighborhood friends. I don't want to say one of his little Jones side boys did this to him and then tucked the gun in their pants and then followed the crowd and pretended like they was just fresh on the scene and found that their homeboy was dead. However, I kind of want to say it. I kind of want to say that one of his little friends did it. Jairah got out of the car to run away from this person. And when the commotion started because they saw this man going collapse in front of the club, I don't think that this person sped away. I almost feel like they were somewhere in the crowd or as if they had just gotten there or something like that. Listen, I said what I said. I said what I said. I was clarifying this card. Come clean or don't come at all. Because when you have step, that's a motherfucking flaw. Only one rule in this game when you fall. Come clean or don't come at all. This would be a card of a liar. 7 of Swords, lies, deceit. But reverse, tell the truth. It was a partnership from the hood, from my home. My home. And they're not talking. Not telling the truth. I keep hearing all over some fucking money, man. All over some money, dog. But your mama tried to tell you. Somebody tried to tell you. Fast communication. Inward communication. This fell out. And it makes me feel like regret. Like I just keep feeling like I shouldn't have got in the car. I shouldn't have let this nigga in my car. That's what it makes me feel like. I shouldn't have let this nigga in my car. I shouldn't have picked him up. I shouldn't have let this nigga in my car. Shouldn't let this nigga in my car. Hierophant. Not going to the police with what they know because they did it. Not going to the police with what they know because they did it. Money. Didn't want you to get money. It wasn't worth it. Did he have money on him and they took it? I don't know. There's a lot of money involved here. Mama told me about my friends. She said they was only around you because of the money and the opportunities. And if she didn't tell them, she knew it. Somebody he trusted. Who the freak is this emperor? Somebody who his intuition was telling him not to trust. Okay. Okay. All right. I'm gonna wrap this up because I don't want to be doing all these, hour and 30-minute long videos. And Jairah has already spoken so much. I could barely keep, I barely needed the cards because he's loud. He's in my ear. He's loud. He's in my spirit. He's loud. So much regret. But he wants his mama to know that she was right. She was right about everything. I don't know what she said to him that night, but he should have listened. He should have listened. And he knows he should have listened to you now. But don't be sad, mama. Don't be sad, mama. I got us. One of those boys, I think carries his energy heavy. I want to say the firstborn, but I'm not sure. But one of those boys, Jairah is going to make sure that they fulfill what he set out to do. He just wanted to take care of his mama, things like that. I got us, though. I got us. That's what I hear. Look, I'm getting ready to shuffle my cards. Hey, Mom. Hey, Mama Rains. You are all over his reading. You are all over his reading. Just like you. Look, I just cut the deck again to try to shuffle. Here you go again. Being fast and flip, not listening to my mama. And this is Jairah right here because this is also a fire sign card. Upright, this person is fast and flip. Reverse, they too fast and flip. They too fast and flip. Too hasty. Too hasty. Making impulsive decisions and not listening to your mama. Especially on the night that your cousin died, that hit your mama in her chest because that was her relative. That was on your mama's side. That was one of her nephews or something like that. And I want to say that her intuition was just, after you left her house, did she actually, stay here tonight, stay home tonight? But she didn't want you in those streets that night, especially after you came to the house and told her about your cousin. Oh, I'm so sorry, Mama Rains. If you see this, I'm so sorry. Because I feel like I can almost feel what you felt in your chest, what you felt in your chest and in your solar plexus, right here in your belly. That's where your intuition will hit you in your gut. That's why people say I feel it in my gut, because your solar plexus is right here. Oh, y'all see my God Body Holistic shirt? Sorry, Jairah, I got to interrupt for a second, but you understand because this is a person from the hometown. PRG Denim, Desmond Wheeler. Thank you for making my shirt. I told you I was going to wear it when I did a video. God Body Holistics is my holistic healthcare company. And PRG Denim, my classmate Desmond Wheeler, he made this shirt for me. Um, I'm going to see if I can tag his link in the description box of this video. But anyways, this is where your solar plexus is. That's why when people say I feel it in my gut, that's because it's in your solar plexus, and that also falls under the rulership of Leo and the sun. So Mama Rains, you felt something in your gut after you found out that Hollywood died. And I feel like Jairah did too, but he wasn't listening. He wasn't listening to his intuition. So in closing, do you have anything else to say, Jairah, before I close this video down? Because it's been an hour, and I didn't want to do an hour because people have short attention spans. Anything else that you want to say besides I got us? Because that's what I keep hearing. I got us. Tell the city I got us. I'm still the man of my city. I'm still the man of my city, and I got us. He's so determined to put Ocala on the map that he's going to use one of his kids to do it. He was so determined to be the one to put Ocala on the map. He wanted to be the one. Others have gave their best effort, but nobody ever really put Ocala on the map like that. Not like Trick Daddy and them did for Dade. That's what he wanted to accomplish. He wanted to make Ocala, you know, he wanted our name to ring bells, but he wanted to take responsibility for that. And your energy is big enough to do it. Here's your mother again. So in closing, in closing, I want to say that, Mom, I think you know more than you think you do. And just because you know all of his friends, and at some point you was warning him about something that he was involved in, and he didn't listen to you. So when I say that you know more than you think you do, I don't mean it in a sense of where you're holding on to secrets or information that could solve your son's case. I just think that you think you don't know what happened or who happened to your son, but you do. You do, probably because you know this person. And if you stop and think about things, put together things that maybe you kind of put out of your mind because it's like, this is my son's friend. You know, they was at his funeral, they was at his repast, they've been here, you know, looking out for me, making Facebook posts about him, things like that. But if you just stop and think about the people who he was getting money with, you have more information than you think you have. And if you wanted to, I think that you could press the situation. You could press it. And I ain't talking about with the police. Step out of your comfort zone. North Node. on the bottom. The answers you need are coming. It's backwards, so you probably can't read it correctly, but the answers you need are coming. Full moon in Gemini. Because his ascendant was in Gemini the day he was killed. So he died in a car. So mom, press his friends about who he was with that night after he left your house, who he was in the car with that night. Don't be afraid to step out of your comfort zone and start asking questions. Ask his friends, even the ones that you are comfortable with. I'm going to pull another Moonology card. All right. Surrender to the divine. I almost feel like that's Jairus. And don't let your past hold you back. This is the South Node card. I just had a North Node card, which is step out of your comfort zone. South Node card as well. I think that was a message from Jairah though. Surrender to the divine. Because now that he's on the other side, we learned things over there that we didn't know when we were here. And for him, it's just like when you hear God, when you hear that inner voice telling you something, y'all need to listen to it because it can save you. It can save your life like it would have did for him had he listened to his intuition, listened to the signs because the signs were there. His cousin being killed that night, whatever conversation him and his mom had had or had been having, coupled with all the other signs that he was getting from his own intuition that he didn't listen to. Surrender to the divine. I think that is Jairus' message to us and to everyone that loved him. This is him saying, y'all, listen, if I could tell you anything, is trust the signs that God is trying to give you because he didn't and he wishes he would have. That is the regret I feel, him wishing that he had have listened. He had so many signs to listen and he didn't. He was just too involved, too caught up. However, he also says, I got us. And he is going to try to fulfill this purpose that he didn't get a chance to fulfill himself through one of his children or their offspring. And good luck, Jairah, because I heard your music. I felt your energy. I felt your determination to succeed. And you had what it took in order to get there. And so, best of luck to you on putting Ocala on the map. It'd be good. It'd be good business for Ocala. There's a lot of untapped talent here. Shout out to Desmond for this shirt. Shout out to myself. Um, your friendly neighborhood spiritualist and holistic healthcare healer. So with that being said, have another sip of anxiety. I'm going to go and decompress by listening to some of my own music. Um, and I think that's another reason that he is speaking through me. We're both artists. Um, so with that being said, thank you, Jairah, for allowing me to speak on your behalf. And bye, y'all. I said bye, y'all.